Hello, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I hope to earn your subscription. What I'm going to talk about today is something that I get a lot uh, in terms of people that I know will say this to me, and people on YouTube have been saying it to me since I started making these videos. And that's that I must just have the best thrift shops and garage sales anywhere to find the things that I do. Now, the point of this channel is to actually show people how I go about finding the things that I find so that they can go out and find their own gold and silver. And when people say to me that it's just because of where you live, I have to disagree. And the reason I disagree is because whenever I go other places, I will also find gold and silver using these techniques and this knowledge that I've been able to put together based on some wonderful people who've taught me quite a lot and a lot of hands-on. The point of this channel is that hands-on as much as possible. The point is so that you can actually see the specific details and spot the things that will help you to find gold and silver when you're out and about. Or honestly, one of the things I really would like to happen is for people to be able to identify the treasures that are within their family so that they don't necessarily end up in these thrift shops and pawn shops. They don't end up melted down, that they get used for the purpose that your original family member who purchased it intended. It's always sad to me when I find like a nice ring that has an inscription on it, and it's like, well, why isn't this in the family? It would be a wonderful keepsake if it were from my family. Or some of the things, and you'll see on my channel, I like to talk about pins a lot, and a lot of these pins have a lot of meaning for people, or had a lot of meaning for people, and I would imagine have a lot of meaning for the families of those people. So that's the intent of this channel. If you're not a subscriber, I hope that I earn your subscription, and you can always help me out by hitting that like button and dropping a comment. Now, what I have before you is from a recent trip I made to Hot Springs, Arkansas, which is across the country for me. And I was able to hit some thrift stores and one flea market, and these are the things that I came up with. So I'm going to go through them real quick. For you stackers, we'll weigh some things and talk about the weight of this, and we'll figure out, hey, did I do good when I bought these things? But without further ado, let me go through and we'll talk about what I spotted and what I came home with. Now, I do have to have one little disclaimer. My wife's grandmother was very interested in some of the things that I found, and she made off with them. So this isn't all of the stuff that I found. For example, these rings are just costume jewelry. This one, I believe, is Avon, and you can always tell like these, well, they say Avon, but also if you look at it, there's Avon, but it also has this like little ring sizer in there. And when you see that, you pretty much know right off that you're dealing with a piece of costume jewelry. Now, Avon is actually pretty dang nice costume jewelry, and sometimes it'll be sterling in my experience. I'm not certain that they made gold. They probably did, but someone can correct me on YouTube if they didn't. But I have found a fair number of Avon sterling pieces. So don't if you see that Avon, straight up dismiss what you're looking at. Have a closer look at it. But this and this ring, which I think is just costume, which you can tell. First off, it has no markings. Now, that doesn't always mean that it's costume. But if we look really, really close, you can start to see, and you're probably seeing it right now, some of the copper coming through the maybe rhodium or silver plate of this piece. It's very hard to see. I had to find it with a loop, but usually high edges is where you can see it. So if you look at those high edges, you see they're a little bit orange. And that's a good example of a piece that's just plated. Now, in that bag was also some other silver, and I mention these because my grandmother, or my wife's grandmother, took the rest of the silver out of that bag, which is absolutely fine. She deserves every piece of silver that she wants. She also took a necklace. So I can't show that to you, but I can let you know that I only paid $2 for the bag, and it made grandmother extremely happy. And she got a nice sterling and amber ring and a interesting braided sterling chain. So for $2, I was happy, grandmother was happy, and I guess the only people who are not going to be happy are anyone watching this video who wanted to see those things. Now, I'll keep going through here. This ring was in a cat shelter thrift shop, and it cost me a whole $3. If we look here, you can see the sterling mark right there. Now, I can't find any other markings on it. It does appear to be maybe like a Navajo style, and maybe some kind of green. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say what I think this is. People told me green turquoise. I don't think that's necessarily right. But you know, the wonderful thing about YouTube is that somebody's going to tell me in the comments, and I very much welcome you telling me just what on earth that stone is. All right, we'll keep going here. This, you're probably already seeing the sterling mark, is a sterling handled cheese server. That cost me $1, and that was in a flea market. Now, it's probably just scrap, and you can see it's already, there we go. I don't think this thing is really serviceable for serving cheese anymore, but maybe, I don't know, when they get rusty, not so interested. I did another video. I'll put a little card right there, linking to it, talking about these hollow handled pieces. And I will probably end up scrapping this one so that you can see how much silver my $1 bought me. If we keep continuing here, might as well keep going with jewelry. Now, I grabbed this because a magnet did not react to the chain. It reacted to the clasp, because these clasps are usually, they usually have like a steel spring in them. But the chain, I thought, was very cool. Very, very cool indeed. And I was pleased to pay my $1 for it. Now, if you look very closely, and I think we'll be able to see it here. There you go. You've got your 925 right there, I think. It's very, very faint. There it is. Right there. 925 right on the clasp. All right. Set that with my other piece of silver here. Might as well continue with, we'll do that piece. We'll do this piece next. Now, this was actually in like a junk store that had been there since the 50s. And this is an excellent, excellent example of very, very, very dirty, nasty sterling. And it cost me $5. Now, I don't know that I got $5 worth of sterling out of it, but I really like this one, and we'll maybe do a video cleaning it. I got to see if I can set up my camera for cleaning. But this rim, you can see here, which is a little bent up, is a very good sign that something like this is sterling. Many of these mixed glass and silver pieces are, in fact, plated. But the sterling ones will always be marked. Those marks can be very difficult to see, especially when a piece is extremely dirty. So what we'll do is we'll zoom in here, and we will try to find our filthy, oh, there we are. Sterling. Right there. Heirloom sterling, which I believe is Oneida. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, that I feel like was $5 worth well spent. I'm sure I've got at least $5 worth of sterling here. It's pretty solid. And if it cleans up, and I don't know if it is going to clean up, because I mean, this thing is pretty gross. And I think maybe underneath where the glass is there, we're going to end up with that crud continuing. And if that crud does continue, I'll scrap this one, and we'll make a video out of scrapping it, which will be a little bit sad, but, you know, that's just how it goes when something's been neglected as long as this one has. All right, let's get a look at this piece right here. Now, I paid $5 for this guy, and I think we're going to weigh this one before we do anything else. For all of you stackers out there, I believe you might want to know how much this weighs before we continue. So we have 70 grams. So right now, I think sterling is sitting at about 99 cents, or not sterling, pure silver is sitting at about 99 cents a gram. So our 69 gram piece here is, 70 minus 10%. We'll say that's roughly $60 worth of silver at spot if this thing is sterling, which I can tell you is. So just press that button and away we go. That is pretty crusty, but you know what gets you a good deal? Crusty stuff. If it's crusty and old and nasty, it gets overlooked and marked at, $5. If we look here, there we go. Mexico, 925. And then some other something. Not entirely sure. We got our 925. And then our other marking is probably the maker. I've not looked that one up yet. But maybe someone recognizes that mark. Bracelets, I tend to find, are a very good source of just grabbing silver, because they will, like in this case, the silver mark's inside and it's in sort of a crusty spot. And they often just get neglected and thrown into bins. Somebody bought this when they were on vacation down in Mexico, and maybe they wore it a few times, tossed it in a bin, and that was it. And it's been kicking around a bin looking like, I don't know, it's cool in that it's heavy, but it's not like the most impressive thing. It's not necessarily something that your grandchildren are going to pull out and want to play with, unless maybe you polished it up real good. But sterling silver will tarnish if you let it sit, and especially under the right conditions, it can get downright crusty and nasty. Case in point. All right, let us continue. We'll save the gold for last. These guys are probably my best buy of the day, and these were also in a flea market, and they have been washed already. You can see them in a couple of my other videos. I haven't done anything other than wash them, however, and I would highly suggest anytime you get crusty old sterling, before you try polishing it, just wash it with some non-lemon soap. So if you got some Dawn or whatever, give it a good wash, and you will be shocked by how much crud comes off of these things. Now, unfortunately, this one here, and you can see this stuff, all this black, had, and I'll see if I can open it up and show you. It took a bit to get this open. See how nasty that is inside? That's because this still had salt in it. If any of you happen to have sterling salt shakers and they still have salt in them, pause the video, go get it, empty out all the salt, wash it. Salt will eat silver. Sterling, to be sure. And these ones are not even weighted sterling. These guys, if we look here, are solid sterling. There's no weighting, and they are chunky boys. Prelude is the pattern, so you can have, see this pattern right here, you can have your whole silverware set and all of your hollowware in this Prelude pattern, if you like. All of your serving dishes, they can all match. All you need to do is spend all the money. But that is the pattern on this one, and these are from probably like the 60s or something. I'm guessing just from when these things were popular. Now, for you stackers, let's pull out my kitchen scale. Now, I should note, it's probably obvious by now, but I basically buy everything in the thrift shop. So I grab kitchen scales and just verify that they're actually about right, and then I go from there. I would not use the scale if I were serious about actually selling this. This scale is just to give us a broad idea of how much the stuff weighs. So let's have a look at what my $10 bought me. 100 and, well, that's interesting. Why is one of them 60? Man, what is going on there? That's a really good, oh. So we probably still have 5 grams of salt caked on the inside of this guy, which is interesting. We will definitely try to get that thing cleaner and cleaner. But so for you stackers buying this stuff, if it's got something inside of it, definitely understand that you might be getting a higher weight than it should be getting. So we're going to subtract 5 grams off of this, and we're going to say that we have 120 grams, which, you know, we're talking my $10 turned into, what would it be? 120 bucks minus, you know, minus 10%, you know, about 100 bucks probably to get these things just melted down. Now, I like these a lot, and they're big and heavy boys, and I would like to get them actually polished. So that's the other reason that I wanted to make this video is, if anyone knows, do I just need to really get out a polishing wheel, like on a Dremel or something, to get this stuff off? Because I have not been able to get this off with polish on my other pieces yet. And I've been told by a couple people that once this happens, your piece is done. But if anyone has a trick for actually getting this really nasty black stuff off, and restoring at least the outside of this to its former glory so that I can use it for Christmas, I would really appreciate the trick. I think what I'm probably going to do when I have a chance is to, you know, really polish it with some kind of buffing wheel, and see if that will actually do the job. Because I have tried with a number of different polishes and haven't been able to get anywhere with that. Okie dokie. So let's go for the last piece. I don't know if this thing's actually going to come in at a gram, but 14 karat gold, genuine stone. It's a real rock in there. So pop this open, you can have a look. I don't even think this thing's a gram of 14 karat, but you know, does it register? No, not on the scale. But, you know, for what I paid. Now, I wanted to come home with some gold, so I paid the $12 that they asked for this little dab of gold. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Let's see, there we go. We got our 14 karat mark right there. Nice little tiger's eye. Nice little dab of gold. Pretty sure I got 14 bucks worth of gold there, but I'd have to pop the stone out and then also verify that this pin is gold. But you know, gold is so high that every little bit counts. And having a little bit that I found at the Humane Society thrift shop, I thought was worth grabbing. In addition to the fact that I like it, it actually may be something that I give to my kid's teacher. He likes wearing old ties and classic things such as old tiger's eye tie tacks. So that actually is probably what this one is destined to be, a Christmas gift. But I did find gold in a thrift shop, and it was under spot, I believe, because spot for 14 karat is like, what is it per gram? It's like 60 something. So even if I only have half a gram of gold in there, it's still 30 bucks. I'm sure there's at least 20 bucks of gold in there, even if the pin isn't gold. So yeah, you can find it. It's out there. I hope you go out and find it, and you know, toss a comment. Tell me what you find when you're out and about. I'd love to hear it. Tell me if there's anything in any of this stuff that you'd like a closer look at, and let me know if you want me to try to figure out how to make some cleaning videos, and I'll go ahead and try to do that. I hope you're having a great day.